Only one of you can ascend to the throne, but both of you were born to be kings.
That scene at the beginning of the first Thor movie is essentially teasing the arc of Loki. Since those movies were titled Thor, it was obvious that Thor would be the protagonist, and by default, Loki became the antagonist. Having said that, if you look at the same story from Loki's perspective, he is clearly the hero of his story. You see, in a way, despite being adopted, Loki is more Odin's son than Thor. Loki learned magic from his mother Frigga. Thor didn't. Loki learned to talk from Odin,
You sound like him.
and perhaps lie as well.
My firstborn.
Thor clearly didn't pick that talent. Odin told Loki that he is destined to be a king. So, that has been his life's purpose. But a king needs a kingdom. Growing up, Loki must have been told, "You're a god. You're a prince. You will rule one day." And yet, he must have felt overshadowed by the accomplishments of his brother. Even in the midst of man, Loki was considered a monster parents used to tell their children at night. He clearly didn't like it, and yet that became a part of his identity. When Loki learnt about his true parentage, things became crystal clear for him. He realized that Odin would never let him rule Asgard. Knowing that, still, all he did was to please Odin, to show he was worthy of the throne, in his own mischievous way. He killed his own biological father. He was willing to destroy Jotunheim just to get Odin's approval. Odin told Loki that he was born to be a king, and Loki tried to achieve it. This clearly makes him the protagonist. Okay, Loki did some bad things on Earth. But did he do it for no reason? When Asgard was no longer an option, Loki was still looking for a kingdom. Keeping the Asgardian upbringing aside, Loki is part human and part frost giant. Don't ask how he was conceived. So now he had two options. Loki has seen Jotunheim. Who would want to rule a place like that?
And you can return Jotunheim to all its glory.
Especially after living in Asgard. Hence, the next obvious choice for a kingdom became Earth. At this point, I want to add something to Loki's story. Back when Loki was born in 965 AD, when we saw a battle between Asgardians and frost giants on Earth, that happened because Odin believed that frost giants wanted to plunge the mortal world into a new ice age. But why were they doing it? On contrary to what Odin thought, could it be that Loki, the king of frost giants, was overwhelmed with joy after the birth of Loki, and he wanted a worthy kingdom for his son to rule? Being part frost giant, he must have thought that Earth would be more suited for Loki if it was a bit cooler. Hence, he did what he did. Knowing that, Loki must feel that he has the right to rule Earth. Unfortunately, by the time he realized that, humans had embraced democracy. Almost. So, he had no kings to overthrow and no thrones to capture. You might wonder, his intention might be justified. Okay, but his means were completely wrong. After all, he unleashed an army on New York City. Again, I'd like to refer to the lesson he learned as a child from Odin.
wise king never seeks out war, but he must always be ready for it.
If Loki wanted, he could have marched on Earth with a small army to start a war. But he didn't do it initially. Humans rejected his rule, and this led to the Battle of New York. This brings Loki to a unique point. Loki, the god of mischief, prince of Asgard, and Odin's son, was shown his true place by the Incredible Hulk.
Puny god.
Loki tried ruling Asgard. That didn't go well. He tried to do the same on Earth. That didn't go well either. At this point, Loki must be confused. He might be wondering, what is his life's purpose now? What is his life's purpose now? That we will learn in the Loki series. Just to clarify, you might be wondering, why am I not talking about the future Loki appearances? After all, he is there in the Thor sequels and Infinity War. If you know anything about the upcoming Loki series, you must be knowing that the events Loki experiences after this point are essentially irrelevant. So, why talk about that? The whole point of this video is to show how Loki is a worthy protagonist, and despite being portrayed as a villain, he deserves to have a story of his own without Thor. Hopefully, this Loki series gives him that. This is the recap of all Loki events leading to the series. Let's be honest here. You are not planning to watch Loki on Disney Plus, but after watching my video, you are motivated to watch the series. Am I correct? If yes, then please tell me in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, world building is so fantastic that I'm a fanatic.